Listen, welcome to
Listen.
Listen.
How are you? Listen, listen, listen.
Welcome to Listen with Tania and Win. We are on a Tuesday episode. What are we on? 14?
We are on 14. We are on 2 sevens. We are on 2 over a dozen. That's what we're on tonight.
Oh my gosh. So thank you so much for tuning in, whether you're watching this live or on the replay. You in for a treat because
Yeah.
today is fire. Today is exciting. So
Super excited.
we'll introduce ourselves just to make it formal. If this is your first time, I'm Tania Briscoe Easterling. I'm in Texas.
That's it. And welcome to the Listen family. I'm Win Briscoe, and we are cousin sisters. Our dads are identical twins. So you'll get some of those mannerisms as we go along in the show tonight. You'll kind of get it as if this is new and this is your first time watching us. So thanks for joining.
Yes. And so last week, before we hop into that, so thank you for taking the time to come to our Facebook page. Make sure your notifications are set. Thank you so much for every like, every reaction, every comment, and for just following us. We appreciate it. We appreciate the love. We appreciate the support.
Yeah.
And the encouragement. We don't ever take it for granted. So we always want to make sure we start out with that. That we appreciate our listeners,
Yes.
Right, Win?
Yes, we love our listeners. Absolutely. Shout out to Danielle, our producer, for coming up with such a great tagline of our people who support us every week. So thank you so much. She's in the background. She pops in every now and again, but I always like to make sure we give her a shout out for helping us every single week to make sure this is possible for you all.
Mm-hmm. So last week's episode.
If you haven't seen last week's episode of Flags and Foolishness, you need to go on the back and watch that Baker's Dozen 13 and put your seatbelt on. Put your big girl panty-ons, buckle up, gentlemen, and don't be easily offended. But just know if the shoe fit, the shoe might fit. Okay? It's a bless you, though. It's going to bless
you. If the shoe fits, put it on. Go ahead and accept it. Put it on.
That's it.
So last week was on flags and foolishness. And we just talked about the true flags, the flags and the signs and the signals that God tries to send our way of, hey, make a U-turn, turn around. This isn't the way you want to go, right?
That's it.
And the foolishness of our own lives, right? Sometimes we bring that own foolishness in.
Yes.
Not just about everybody else's foolishness. So
and on this show, I mean, we keep it real and relevant. So you're going to hear the truth of us, right? We're not here to sugarcoat it because I think that's what so much of society is. But know that we're Christ-centered, but you're going to get the real and relevant. So we're going to tell you, hey, you know what? Our bad. We messed up. We didn't listen to God. We did our own thing. We were the fools in this situation. Oh, you're going to hear the honest truth and transparency from us, you know, so and the parts that we played and how God wastes nothing. We are so grateful for his grace and how things have come full circle in our lives. So thank you for being patient with us on this journey, coming along with us, and just enjoying the real and relevant.
I mean, he doesn't waste a GD thing.
Not a thing.
And for everybody watching, that's gosh darn. He don't waste a gosh darn.
Good deal.
He doesn't waste a gosh darn thing. So
nothing.
That was last week. Check it out. As of right now, I don't know how much longer, but for right now, you can literally binge watch all the last 13 episodes. They're still on the Facebook page. Don't know how much longer we're going to be able to keep those up. So there's everything there from special guests with our moms to powerhouses like Yvonne Sanchez, Kim Dennis, and of course, we can't forget our anchor sister, Tisa Clark.
That was fire. If y'all haven't seen the episode on Fellowship 2 episodes ago, The Dozen, go back and watch the 3 of us with Tisa Clark and our producer, Danielle. The 4 of us on the show at the same time. Give yourself 2 hours, honey, because it's a good long. But let me tell you, it's going to bless you twice as long. It's phenomenal.
Yes. Worth every second.
Absolutely.
Every second. So today, when
I'm
We
super
all
excited.
about the fitness today.
I am incredibly excited because today is someone that we've known since we were little, like absolutely little. And as kids grew up together in church together, we did life together. You know what I mean? And to see all of us evolve to where we are and how God has used all of us and all of our journeys has been amazing. So I don't want to delay. Definitely, Danny, definitely pop on in. I want to introduce Danny Strong, who is like a big brother to me, definitely, and who is my personal trainer. So I have a near and dear for the Strong Fitness, and the Strong Fitness family had to rep that today to make sure we gave him his props. So Danny, introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Danny Strong. I'm in Waldorf, Maryland. I own Strong Fitness in Waldorf, Maryland. Um, Married to my beautiful wife, Cherie Strong, and all of our lovely family and kids. We're a blended family. Um, Again, as Gwen said, and Anthony, we all grew up in the same church. So coming up as kids, running around and playing and learning about God. And God still very much holds a big place in our lives today and in my life personally. Um, I'm a gym owner of Strong Fitness, which is in Waldorf, Maryland. Also a professional IFBB pro bodybuilder. And I'm also an amputee. So I think that kind of sums it up for me.
I love that you said we were running around playing and learning about God. I love the order that you put that in, because that is so true.
Thank you for keeping it real, Danny Strong, because the priority was what it was. Thank you.
Run around playing and learn about God.
It's true. It is true.
Oh yeah.
So we just wanted to have you on here because primarily, obviously, I mean, not the whole world is still pandemicking. Win and I are still pandemicking, real talk. But a lot of people, myself included, have put back on some pounds that we didn't intend to put back on over this past 500 and some days of COVID.
Definitely understand that. That has been everybody's sentiment. Also, I just think in general, of course, we went through some seasons with the pandemic, but of course, wintertime, a lot of people are inside. If exercise isn't necessarily a part of your day-to-day and your regimen, it's just easy to put on weight. It just really is. Exercise is definitely not something that I would say is always easy to do. It doesn't come natural to everybody. And when it doesn't, you have to really work to prioritize it, fit it into your day, kind of make yourself do it. There'll be times where it's enjoyable, you want to do it, and there's going to be plenty of times where it's not enjoyable. You're not going to enjoy it. You don't necessarily feel like doing it, but it's the push through, the consistency, I always say, over time that yields the results. So, even if you're on an exercise program and let's say it's a day you don't feel like giving that 100%, if you go in there and even do 60%, that's better than zero, because guess what? 60% a few days in a row, that's a lot, opposed to, you know what, I'll skip this week. So again, that the pandemic has affected all of us, and particularly, gyms and fitness centers, because many were even closed. Absolutely. So you have the ability or opportunity to even exercise at a facility if that's what you were used to. You had to really improvise, which made things even more difficult.
Well, thank you for giving some of us permission to do 60%. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, it's better than zero.
That's the truth. Just move, any movement.
Yeah, any movement is better than no movement.
Right.
And that's the truth. That's the truth. Yes.
So if you want to share, we'd love for the audience just to get to know you a little bit more personally, because you have such an amazing testimony, an amazing journey with your body. And like you said, you're an amputee. So do you want to share with everybody just that journey?
Sure. So this was about 2006. including with my wife at the time, and daughter, Danielle, we were in a very tragic car accident. We were on our way to North Carolina. We got in a very bad car accident. And in that accident, at that time, Sandra passed, and I lost my leg. Uh, that's how I lost my leg. But I also had many other injuries as well. Um, I had a rod put in the opposite leg. I had a lacerated spleen. Let me see, a hip fracture, some broken ribs. I mean, just a multitude of injuries. So Danielle was also our daughter was in the vehicle with us. And the blessing is she survived and she had no injuries. So that was the start of a long journey back, to just health, physically, spiritually, mentally, everything. And, ups and downs along the way, good things along the way, bad things along the way, mistakes, different kinds of things. So it was a big learning process. When you go through something like that, that's not typically something that people always deal with. Um, Such a tragic loss, in addition to losing parts of your body too. So it's a lot to come back from. So definitely, I thank praise God for that. And in the end, it really has made me much stronger, um, in really every area. In every area, I was doing bodybuilding and health and fitness at that time when it happened. Um, I We had this facility. The facility had just opened up. It was only open for about a month, and then the accident came. And then, of course, going through the healing process, which that was a long period of time. And then finally, allowing myself time to get back to working out, allowing myself to kind of accept my body the way that it was, because it wasn't going to change. Um, and then slowly getting back the love of working out and being able to, realize that, what, even with a leg missing, I'm still whole. It's really hard. And I'll speak from the point of view of an amputee, but also just anyone. When something's missing, or at least you think it's missing, it's hard to think of yourself as whole, but you still can be whole. Um, Again, I started to realize just how strong I really was, in the sense of being able to push through that, and, even allowing to look at my body, and eventually having the kind of the courage or the mindset to get on stage with other individuals who weren't even amputees, and believe that I had the ability to still win. And that's something that's always special to me, because it first starts up here, truly, because you have to have it in your mind, in your heart, that you could really do that, and then push through it to accomplish it. So when I turned pro as an amputee, I was the first one to do it as an amputee in that federation. And
Wow.
it was just really special. Yeah, it was really special. Um, yeah, my wife could tell you, I cried and thank God like all night. It was just, I couldn't stop. There was no one else on that stage that day that that had that type of disability, actually, missing a limb. So, I felt, very special, and privileged to be able to accomplish something like that.
It's huge. That is huge how God took what we thought was a loss, right? Because as we said earlier,
Right.
God wastes nothing in our story. We
Ex-
all have been through some serious
Yeah.
tragedies, and God wastes nothing. And I love how He redeemed and took you from what you thought was a loss to showing you now I can make you more successful than those who have what you're missing.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes. I mean, it's almost like saying, what you don't have, I have.
Well,
I'll
sure. With God, that's exactly how it is.
I'll fill the gap. So, hey, he said, in our weakness, his strength is perfect. So that's it. In an area that you might consider weak, loss, there's a way to still fill that gap. And, it's God fills that gap, and you just have to believe it and walk in it.
Yeah.
It really did take believing it, and it did take walking in it. And then, as far as the results, the results kind of speak for themselves. So yes, he filled that gap. Definitely. Definitely.
Well, I'm just mad that in 16 minutes you have already preached the whole trial sermon. So
I mean, he wastes nothing and he fills the gaps, honey. I mean, restoration, Joel 2:20. I mean, he didn't brought it all the way forward. Right?
Yeah, full.
That's it.
So
your life is a living testimony, and I love that. You know what I mean? Because there's people who want to get on a pulpit and preach, and we're like, nah, is your life a living testimony?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to open your mouth. Really, you don't need to. I'm just keeping it real. There's people that feel like they have to do that, and there's a place for it, but their lives aren't reflective. Can we just start with, is your life a testimony? We on a Tuesday, right? Is your life a testimony?
Right.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. Trust me, the pulpit, though my father's pastor, the pulpit is definitely something that I didn't and still don't want any part of. I'm like, you know what, God, use me.
That's all of us.
Yeah.
That's all of us, but God's still having his way, because he just got you on a different platform. You still getting to minister.
He's doing the ministry of fitness. And I told Tania what I love about this. First of all, not only that you're our first male guest, which is huge, right, as a big brother to us, but also that we're all PKs, right? And so having a parent that was a pastor or is a pastor is like, it's a whole different world to live in. And that's something that, that's probably another show for another day. We'll bring back some of the PKs and we'll make sure that you're on to share some experiences of what that was like. But it's kinfolk, definitely.
Definitely.
So our guests that are watching, if you were able to join us live, post your questions. If you have questions for Danny or even for us, you can post them in the comments. We'll try to get to as many as we can in case they start getting. In case you start getting a lot, but the amazing Sue Mills posted a question for you. She said, how did the relationship with God change after the accident?
That's a good one. Well, to be frank and to be real with you, initially when that first happened, the accident first happened, I was really, that was the only thing I had to hold on to. Being in the hospital, kind of getting the news of everything that has transpired and took place, because at that time I was unconscious. So coming back around, and then once things started to really settle in for me, the reality of everything, I started to question God, truly, the realness of God, everything. Because, we're always taught God knows the beginning from the end. Nothing takes him by surprise. If something happens, not to say God did it, but God definitely has to allow it.
Right.
I'm still a believer of that because God has all control. So it definitely means anything that happens. Now, God may not have pushed the button and said, go, but he may, he knew that this was in store, and he knows what the overall outcome is going to be. But at that time, my mind was only thinking about why.
Yeah.
Why would you allow it? Now, see, at that time, I knew, at least in my mind, I'm thinking, Lord, I'm living a good life. I'm, man, I witness, man, I'm a good husband. I'm true to my wife. I'm this, and that, and why would you allow that to happen? Why? What good could come of this? So to be honest, I was upset with God for a while, and just started to think, you know what? The God stuff. Is it real? It really, is it real? Is it real? Can we really trust in it? And that was my route.
Yeah.
I remember telling my story where I said a gentleman called me. He had a talk show that I used to listen to a lot. His name was Alistair Bagg, and he had a popular talk show on one of the radio stations. And you have to remember, this is, I don't even know if he's still doing this, but of course, this was at this time, 06. And the gentleman called me. And when he called, he learned of my accident because I had a neighbor who also listened to him. So when he found out that this happened, I think he wrote into him or called and just asked him, I have a friend that, suffered a tragic accident, this, that, and the other. And could you please, just give him a call, maybe give him some encouragement. So I was thankful that he called. And I just remember him saying, whatever you do, just hold on to God. I wish as a pastor, as a preacher, that I could tell you why it happened. And like I had all the logical and all the answers. And he said, I really don't. I don't have the answers. The only thing I can tell you is that God is real, and allow him to be your anchor still, even though you may not understand why, you may not understand all the ins and outs of things now, but I can tell you that God loves you, and just continue to let him be your anchor. I think that was one of the most relevant things that I had heard.
Yeah. Because it was the truth.
Right. In regards to just, we don't always know everything. It won't all make sense. But even with that, and even him being a pastor, I can't sit here and tell you this was why and that was why. And no, I can just tell you, keep loving God, because God loves you. Allow him to be your anchor. And, that's what I did. I had my ups and downs, and I would, just from there, hey, God, I would just talk to God just like I'm talking to you all, and continue to pray, continue to trust. And again, that was up and down. But over time, God proved himself to me in terms of being real and still being there for me. So overall, I would say it strengthened my relationship and trust in God. But initially, no, I had a lot of questions and a lot of doubts.
Yeah, this accident, now that you're past that and thriving in your life, do you now see how basically it catapulted your relationship with God?
I can see how it furthered my relationship with God. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I think in life, and it also taught me everything in life isn't going to be a bed of roses, whether you're serving God or not.
Right.
I think when you have a relationship with God and you're serving God, you think somehow, and I thought that you're exempt from some of the normal things that happen in life, or even some of the tragic things that may happen in life. I mean, from losing a loved one, from having a chronic or a sickness, or disease, or anything that could possibly happen. The relationship with God and the belief and trust doesn't make you exempt from those things, but it does give you the strength and the power to go through those things, to get through those things.
Oh yeah, it's our foundation, right? It's our anchor. And for those that don't have that foundation and they're going through the identical thing you go through, that's where the struggle really comes in.
Exactly.
But I look at, out of that tragedy, all of the amazing tools, in the ways that you can now relate and touch other people that prior to that, you would have only been able to say, well, I empathize.
Exactly.
But now you can relate. I mean, God has blessed you out of the tragedy to be able to relate to so many
It's true.
other people now, single dads, amputees,
right?
I mean, widower, just so many other areas that you're now able to be a blessing, even through your business, ministering to people.
Most.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Most definitely. Yeah, when you look back over your life, like the song says, then you can see, like, you know what, wow, God, yep, you orchestrated that. You allowed that, but then this happened, that happened for this. And, just many times it really is it is to bring God glory. It strengthens you in the process. And I think for me, what I realize more, and that's a hard thing because we do think many times it's just about us. It's
Mhm.
really not about us. It's
Mm.
really more about
Mm.
someone else, other
Yes.
people who gain insight, gain strength,
Mm.
the strength to go on, the strength to maybe trust God further or longer, the strength or the belief that their own situation may turn because they're like, hey, you know what? There's a person that actually, wow, they did that, and
Mm.
okay, they're still living. They actually seem they're still happy. Okay, seems like their life is okay.
Mm.
And I think that's really what goes on through it is that thing that people are able to see and gain strength from for their own life and situation.
Right.
Because truly,
Yeah.
one thing to trust God and with God as a spirit, it's one. But I feel when He places us here and the things that we physically do and go through, that's tangible and people
Right.
can actually see it.
Right.
People feel it. So that's the
Yeah.
example of God that they can actually really see, like, wow, you know what? Okay, I see it with my own eyes, or I saw it with my own eyes. This actually happened. So I believe, you're building a person's strength, you're building a person's faith, um, trust in God through what they're seeing through you, through your situation, through your testimony. Yeah,
That's
through
it. That's it. Because we're his vessels on the earth, right? So if we don't go through what we go through to be that living example, that you know what, no matter what the situation, God is faithful and he will still bring us through to the end, no matter how tragic. How would they have that as an example? Because it's one thing to read it in the Bible and okay, it's a Bible story, right? This is great. We see how the different characters in the Bible had their experiences, but it's not what we call real and relevant, right? But we can see, you know what? God saved Danny's life. Oh
Mhm.
my God, he is now back on stage. He is back working out, right? If
Right.
he can do it, I can do it,
Yep.
right? There is so many days where I left boot camp when I first started. I've been with you 7 years. Do you know there was a couple of times that I was whipped, like you kicked my butt, you know what I mean? And I remember getting on the phone and calling my parents, and I was like, I am struggling to get in the house and get up the steps. I kid you
Right.
not. And you know what my dad said? He was like, yo, if Danny is doing it with one leg, what's up with you? Get yourself together. And I
Yep.
was like, did you have to call me on that, right? And I was like, you're right. You are so right. Like, what I have two legs still on me, right?
Right.
And I'm talking about leg day and how bad it's hurting. And he had to put that thing in perspective. Like, if Danny can do it, that's your inspiration right there. Get back to the gym and keep pushing. And so, Danny, your life, your legacy, right? God is using it all as a living testimony to encourage all of us every week, every day that we're there. Like, you know what, God, you are faithful. We can still do this. We
Oh
can
yeah,
still do it.
most definitely. Most,
So we have another question for you, and this is so good. We
Yeah.
hope
Oh,
everybody
consistency.
watching. Oh my gosh, we
Yes.
just all yeah.
Especially in the pandemic, Danny. What's the best way to keep consistency?
boy. I do say so. First, you have to either, and I heard this the other day, and this is true. So you do have to first have either a foundation or a plan, and that's it. And it doesn't have to be detailed. It just has to be very generic, as in I tell most people from the start when they're like, you know what? So I want to exercise and I want to do this. What's the best way to get started? And now I'm going to tell you a minimum of 3 days per week. That's what I tell most people. Now, it may eventually take more than that, but we have to remember if you're starting at a place that you've never started from before or you're a beginner, um, start with realistic expectations because if you say, you know what, yeah, I'm going to do this 6 days a week.
Yeah.
I don't. For most beginners, 6
They're
days,
not going to sustain it.
it's not realistic, and
Mm-mm.
you'll burn out. Now,
Mhm.
at 3 days per week, it's realistic. I mean,
Mhm.
a Monday, a Wednesday, a Saturday, a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, whatever those days may be, 3 days. Work on the consistency of 3 days per week at a minimum of 30 minutes. And then that's it. That's your foundation. That's your start. And then allow it to grow from there. So 30 minutes, 3 times a week. Now it might be 30 minutes, 45 minutes per week because you're adding a little something more extra to your program. And then it may be 30, then it may be an hour 3 times per week. Then you might branch
Okay.
off and add a fourth day. Okay,
Mhm.
you know what? I've been doing this for X number of weeks straight. I'm going to add one more day and I'll add this particular thing on that day. So, to answer that question about consistency, I would say start off being realistic about your exercise program. Start with something that you can realistically stay consistent with. And with that being said, as I said, you need at least three. So you don't want to tell yourself, I'll I'll start off with 1 day a week. That is a good effort, but unfortunately, I would be honest with someone and say at once per week, it would be very hard to yield the results that
Mhm.
you would want that are needed. So being
Yeah.
realistic at 3 times per week, it's realistic to see results. And then you can build a foundation from that 3 times per week. So I would say start off with something realistic, but start off with something that has, at least some maybe scientific proof that it works. And that 3 days per week has that. And then, of course, you can build on it from there.
Yeah, speak to the different styles. Like I know there's times where I'm working out and I don't get a chance to maybe do group fitness all the time, but there's times when I maybe just need to run and get something in real quick,
Yes.
right? So your boot camp, talk about that because
Okay.
even though I do go to a local gym for independent, just quick run down and get some things done in between a lunch break or in the evening, it's something about your boot camp and the being there together as a team and working out together. So speak to that about the group fitness aspect.
Sure. So as Gwen said, there's many different ways to get fit. There's many different aspects of fitness. Um, of course, what I do is more so in the realm of weight training and that type of thing at the gym. Now, the boot camp in particular really focuses on, I say, conditioning. I mean, it's great for a person who is interested in building some muscle, not getting necessarily really big like a bodybuilder, but toning and building some muscle, burning some calories and burning some fat, and increasing their cardiovascular capacity, which are all healthy things. I feel the boot camp encompasses all that because you're going to do some weight training of some type. Sometimes we're using body weight. Sometimes we're using machines and free weight and dumbbells. From the ropes you see people use to kettlebells. So we would use a wide variety of exercises. I feel that also helps you to kind of avoid boredom and kind of doing the same exact routine all the time. This changes it
Okay.
up for you. And it kind of keeps it new to your body. There's times that you will just say, you know what, today I'll find an exercise class like a boot camp or a Pilates or a Zumba. But then the following day or day after when you exercise, you might just say, you know what, today I'm just going to go for a brisk walk slash jog outside. And I got my timer on. I'm going to do it for at least 30 minutes. That's great. Following day, you may go to the gym and say, you know what, I'm going to get on the treadmill, on the elliptical. I'm going to do 30 minutes. Okay, great. Follow up the next day, it may be back to the boot camp. But that's how you begin a system of, being consistent, kind of mapping it out, telling yourself what you're going to do, changing it up when you need to, because it doesn't have to always be in the gym. as I said, it could be outside for 30 minutes. It could be in the gym. It could be at your home. You might have some dumbbells. You might have some exercise balls or a treadmill, bike, or elliptical. So now you have the opportunity to also do these things right at home. If someone just has a set of dumbbells, there's a multitude of exercises you can do with 5 to 10 pound dumbbells right there at your home. That doesn't, where you don't need to leave or find a gym or anything.
That's awesome. And we want you, not at this moment, but we will come back to you showing a few examples of how to use those dumbbells and some exercises at home.
Definitely.
So Tania loves scriptures. So on the show I'm referring to. So Nia, go ahead and read your first one in your Message translation.
So really sought God for a scripture about fitness, and I was actually able to find two. So the first one was 1 Corinthians 6:19-20, and it says, "Or didn't you realize that your body is a sacred place, the place of the Holy Spirit? Don't you see that you can't live however you please, squandering what God paid such a high price for?" So I think that just speaks to the realness of, like you said earlier, Danny, that our bodies don't belong to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a temple.
Yep.
And how we're supposed to take care of that temple.
Definitely.
And the importance of that. And obviously what can happen when we don't.
Exactly.
And going back to your journey really quickly before we move on into more focused fitness, we had another question that came up in the comments by another longtime sister friend, Tess Mason.
Yeah, she was a boot camp with us. Shout out to Tess.
Yep. Hey.
She said, "What advice do you give to a young man that has lost a loved one and is really mad with God and to move on?"
Wow.
Great question, Tess.
It is a great question.
Well, if that person is willing to listen, I would tell them to really speak to God just like you're speaking to your friend. Speak to God just like you're speaking to your father. I know people have often said not to question God, and that's not something I believe in. I believe, God said that we can cry, Abba, Father. I would ask my father a question. The thing is, I wouldn't come to my father any type of way, though. I would be respectful even in my asking.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, I always say, God is our father. He understands when we're upset as well. But I would come to God and just be honest with God and say, let God know how how upset you are, how much it hurts that your loved one was either taken or allowed to pass, or what situation, and just ask God to reveal to you, to open up your heart and mind to be accepting of it, and and why it happened this way, and that's what I would say. And that, sometimes God does say his ways aren't our ways. And I know sometimes, when you're upset, you may not even be open to wanting to hear the scripture, but he said, his ways aren't our ways. And that's so true. Whereas, we're looking at a situation this way, and God is looking at it so much differently than we are. And he may not understand the reasons why, but God ultimately knows why. And the reasons behind it are definitely good, not evil, and not just trying to let him know or her know that God really still loves you. And though the passing of this person hurts you, God wants you to kind of, to lean into him for that love and for that understanding, maybe to get you through, or to understand why this happened that way.
Absolutely.
So good. So good.
We
Yeah.
want to just make sure that you convey to everyone the importance and the benefits of fitness and wellness.
All right. Well, I mean, definitely, I would say when it comes to exercise, health, and fitness, that's one of the reasons I truly do this as well. Um, as we're growing, as we're getting older, we definitely want to keep our bodies in good shape. And it's not just because of the cosmetic effect, but truly because of the physiological effect. I mean, keeping high blood pressure down, if you're diabetic, or stopping diabetes from coming, or if you're diabetic,
Mhm.
having better control, better insulin sensitivity. All those things have been proven to be improved through cardiovascular exercise, weight training, all of those things. And those are two that are top of the list. Heart disease, that can also be combated through exercise, cardiovascular exercise, weight training. So all those things, weight control, of course,
Mhm.
all those things to keep your body in good functioning condition to help you live not just longer, but a better and healthier life. Exercise really has to be a part of it. It definitely needs to be in there, a part of it somewhere, whether it's weight training, whether it's cardiovascular training, whether it's yoga or Zumba or something. um, it really should be a part of your daily life. Um, Resistance training has been shown to help so much in terms of keeping muscle mass, helping with bone density as we get older. Bones, we have issues with them
Right.
becoming brittle. We have issues with osteoporosis. Just your joints hurting. Weight training has been proven to, help with that. Uh, it's going to help with keeping your muscle mass in terms of, as when we get older, it's proven we lose muscle mass. So if we don't do some type of resistance training, normally little by little, you're losing muscle mass,
Mm.
which means you're going to naturally have more fat and less solid muscle mass. And that's not something we want. So you can fight that just by simply doing some resistance training. So it's so very important. I'm sure from the commercials, anything you look up, you're going to definitely see and hear why staying healthy and implementing some type of training program is super important. You stay healthier for yourself, clarity of your mind, you're here longer for your loved ones, you're better able to assist yourself and others. So it's just a multitude of benefits that you get from staying healthy.
What do you think about when it comes to health and wellness and the age, the fitness, right? Is it you're fit at any age? How do you feel about when people are aging and they may feel like they're too old or let people know that there's no age limits
Oh,
to fitness and wellness.
in fact, there,
Right.
again, studies have shown, you can just look this up. How does exercise benefit me when I'm getting older? They say it's actually more beneficial
Right.
for when you're getting older. Why? Again, hormones change, bone density goes, muscle mass goes. When you're weight training, fortify all those things. You continue to keep muscle mass or build more. Bone density becomes better. Hormones seem to balance out better. So weight training, the benefits are so vast, and especially as you're getting older. Especially, when you're youthful, there are benefits that just come with youth. I mean,
Right.
if you're in your 20s, even
Like all of us on here in our 20s.
exactly even
Right.
30,
Mhm.
some benefits that just come with that. You may not have crossed over into any pains in your knees and shoulders and back and things of that sort, but those are the things that the weight training can help you with, because you're keeping muscle mass, you're staying tighter and stronger, and it's going to give you the ability to be more mobile, just everything across the board. And definitely as you're aging, it's going to have even more benefit. Definitely more benefit.
That's good.
For
That's
sure.
good. I don't. I'm not ready to accept that I'm aging yet. So yeah.
Well, none of us really are. Myself included. I often say, nah, man, yeah, my numbers are going up as
Mhm.
far as age, but hey, I feel good. I can lift with the best of them.
Yeah.
The young guy that comes in, I can still do it. And that's true, but it doesn't take away the fact that, little by little, we are getting older. I don't call myself old, but we are getting older.
Yeah.
And while doing that, there's things that we can do to stay healthy or to be even healthier. And again, weight training, cardiovascular training, resistance training, um, eating healthy. We got to put that in there. You know,
Yeah.
being more conscious of what we eat, how much we eat, different times that we eat. Those things will definitely help you along your fitness journey. Um, Eating is so
Yeah.
important. That's the one thing you really can't get around. As much as, I exercise a lot, and that's why I try to keep my nutrition relatively good, even when I'm not competing. When I compete, I'm really, really strict because it requires that. When I'm not competing, I still try to eat relatively healthy because I don't want to go so far off course. But eating is absolutely so important. I can't really overstress it. I mean, it's basically medicinal if you think about it. Think about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Hey, when you add more vegetables, add more fiber, uh, that alone can cause uh, HDL cholesterol levels and everything.
Come
Uh,
down.
I'm sorry, LDL levels and cholesterol to go down. So that means it has a medicinal type of effect just from your food. Think about it. Hey, we eat lots of saturated food. We eat lots of this, that, and the other. You're gaining weight. Heart rate starts to go up. Blood pressure goes up. Cholesterol goes up. LDL goes up. HDL goes down, which is a good cholesterol. All those things were affected merely from food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
From
And
food.
Danny, to be real talk, this season of spring, summer is the worst, especially for populations of any type of color, right? Because they're eating foods that are going to be more fried, right? More that's going to be the fat content
Mhm.
is going to go up. And as you know, I've shared my story. I tell people you cannot out exercise poor nutrition. You
Yep.
have to start with the core. You know, the iceberg has to be in the right priority, and the base of it is nutrition. And you
Yep.
top that thing off with fitness,
Yep.
because you cannot. I don't care if you're at the gym 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. If you're going home and you're eating fried foods, right, and comfort foods, and you know what we mean when we say that, right? You just can't. It's just the balance is wrong.
Yep. The balance is wrong. I always tell people it's not that you can't have something that is pleasing to your palate. It's just that you have to do it in moderation.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be realistic with yourself with where you stand. So if a person, I'm just saying, for instance, is 50 pounds weight, well, they really need to be strategic and be more serious and focused on their goal so that now when they lose that 50 pounds and they're now 50 pounds lighter, at this point, it's a little easier to, or you're more open to, okay, you have a cheat meal or two here and there. Okay. You can be more balanced at that point. And along the way, as you're losing the weight, no, it doesn't mean that you have to be 100% strict the whole time. But in order to get to the desired goal, you're going to have to hold yourself more accountable because it's going to take more to get there.
Right.
It's going to take more to get there. So, you have to be serious about it. I suggest to most people they do it in 10-pound increments so that it's not so overwhelming. If it is a 50-pound benchmark or that's where you want to go, you know what? Break it down. So, you know what? My focus is on the first 10. Once you get through that, now my focus is on the next 10. Get through that. Next thing you know, you're 30 pounds down and you're really close to your goal. I have a client now and same thing. She's has reached her goals, kind of probably about 25 pounds down, but we just did it at the 10-pound increments. Now she's trying to go for another 10 pounds. So it's little by little that helps you balance it better
Yeah.
along. Right.
and sustain it, because when you lose weight too fast, you're just going to put it right back on plus more.
Yep.
So it's about the sustainability of it. When you do it low and slow, you're able to maintain that as a lifestyle versus something that you're just doing as a fad. Every January, the gyms are full. And by Valentine's Day and St. Patrick's Day, where are the people, right? Like you look around, they're gone. So it wasn't a lifestyle, it was a fad.
Yep.
Yes. And I love that you said the importance of that it's okay to still eat some things in moderation.
Most definitely.
Oh, we do. Oh, we do.
Because real talk, if your mother put her potato salad in front of me, I don't know that I would turn it away.
Ma'am.
Yeah, no. 30
Very
plus
strong
years
potato
later,
salad.
still, nobody tops your
Exactly.
mom's potato salad to this day for me. So, there's that. It's like, okay. Thank you for the okay in the moderation.
Oh, yeah. Set goals. And that could be one of the things. Hey, once I lose my first 10 or even my first 5, I'll reward myself with a meal, kind of, okay, back on track.
Right.
Boom, got another 5 to go. Then, so along the way, those are your benchmarks. Along the way, you can reward yourself, but it's still done systematically.
Mm-hmm.
It's still done in a way that, it's still on your road to success, on your road to losing. You're just not out of control. You know how much to give yourself, and then boom, you're back on track.
Yeah, don't let those cheat meals derail you. I will tell you, get a good support system, Danny. You and I have had this conversation one-on-one where I felt like I didn't have a support system when I first started my journey, and that was tough. When you have, I just didn't have a support system. I mean, family, friend, foe, everyone was questioning how much weight I was losing and why am I losing so much weight and how much more weight am I going to lose? And I was thinking, man, everybody has these questions, but I don't see them at the gym with me.
Right.
Right? Because they always got questions.
Yeah.
Your kinfolk always got questions. But I'm like, but you the one that need to be there with me, with your questions, asking yourself these questions. You know what I mean? So thank you for being real talk, my solid rock and support system through this 160 pounds that I've come down, because I didn't have it. You were my support system.
Yep. So it can be done. It's just systematic. You can't give up on it. If you fall, I always tell people, if you fall behind or you fall off, then just get back on. I mean, it's honestly as simple as that. Just don't stay in the hole. So, sometimes people are on a plan, it's working. They get a little frustrated, might get a little weak. They might have a day that they just binge, or they say, you know what? But if you do that, just don't stay there. Turn right back around, get back on your plan, and then start working the plan. And that's it. You chalk it up. Yep, I fell off track. I had a bad day, but now I'm back on track. After a few days, hopefully you kind of lose what you put back on, and then you're back on track, and you keep going. That's how it goes. It's not easy. So, you're going to have some ups and downs in that journey, especially if it's weight loss. But if you stick true to it overall, that's why I say with the consistency. That also means if you fall off track, getting back on, that's also a part of consistency. All in all, that's what it is. Because if you make a mistake, or you had a bad day, or 2 or 3, the point is now you got to get back on track. And then once you get back on track, boom, that's part of the being consistent.
Yeah, finding a regimen that works for you is so key, right? So I don't know what your regimen is. I know someone asked, when are you competing again? And so I know when you're competing, you have a different regimen than when you're not competing. So, I think it just depends on what works best for them, their lifestyle, their family, their work-life balance, because sometimes it's easier to eat cleaner than others, depending on what you have going on, your outside circumstances. So you want to speak to that regimen?
Sure. I'm competing again in November, at the end of November. And when I'm competing, so I'm on a very strict regimen in terms of food. And you really have to just strengthen. It is hard, but you have to strengthen yourself and help yourself to be successful in regards to even what's around you, you know. So the foods that you have around, make sure you have the foods that you need in
Yeah.
the house so that you can be successful. Make
Yeah.
sure foods that you shouldn't have aren't there. Now, the caveat to that though,
Right.
I don't put this burden on others. So if I'm in the home, my wife may not be on a strict regimen like I am.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
super strict. Uh, the family, the children may not be on a strict regimen like you are. And I say this fairly, it's kind of hard to subject everyone to what you're going through on in this regard. Now, I would hope that they would be respectful and try to help you along the way, but sometimes you just have to help yourself. So, in the house, there's still other foods there for the kids and everything like that. And I just make it a point that I'm just not going to indulge in it. I can't. So, you know, of course, your spouse or significant other may not be doing what you're doing at the time. And if that's the case, you just have to make your way around it. You know, there's sometimes
Yeah.
when I'm playing and my wife is eating the same way that I am, but then the kids may not be. So then we will have to both say, okay, well, allow that to happen for them and
Mm-hmm.
have foods there that they're going to eat, you know? So, on the other hand, you just have to be really committed to your journey with weight loss. You have to really try not to allow yourself to have any excuses. Now, on the other hand, let's say you're a person living by yourself, then make that house foolproof for yourself. You know what I mean?
Right.
Buy all the extras that you might like. Don't keep the ice cream in the refrigerator. Don't keep cookies in the cupboard. I mean, honestly, don't
Real
keep,
talk.
Yeah.
because it kind of sets you up to just lean towards that. So
Mm.
set up your environment for more success in terms of just having the things there that you need.
Yeah.
Now, if you're about to have a cheat meal, whether it's a cheat day or a cheat meal, you can go out and do that. You could, I'm going to have this. You could just buy one of those items, opposed to having 12 of them. So now you're a
Mm-hmm.
few days into your plan and you look over and you have the whole box of brownies. Well, maybe you could have just went out somewhere and just had one,
That's
and
it.
have to deal with that part of it and look at it until it calls you to eat it, you know?
It's
So,
real talk. This because I know we deal with this. Just
yeah.
shopping the perimeter of the grocery store really helps
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
because if you shop the inner aisles of the grocery store, everything is processed. And so if you shop the perimeter of the grocery store, you obviously have the frozen and you have the fresh, right? And so the
Right.
fresh is really where you want to live to keep that nutrient balance going in the body. But
Yep.
the inner of the store is where it's death. It's nothing is not alive in the middle of a grocery store. So think
Yeah.
of it like a track. You want to stay on track, stay on the outer perimeter of the store has helped me. And like you said, I don't buy it. So if it's not here, I have to go out. So last week, Nia knows I had a taste for chili and cornbread. Like that hankering hit me. And I don't normally have that during the week. I have smoothies and salads during the week, and then I have what I like on the weekends. I do that 2-day balance thing for me. And so I had to just go out on a Sunday, get some chili, got a couple of pieces of cornbread with that chili, because if I would have made a crock pot, right, if I'd have made a pan, then I'd have been stuck with that the whole week. So it was like, nope, I'm just going to
Yeah.
go have that meal. That meal's done. Let me get back on my regimen.
Yep. Yep. That's the best way to do it. It's the
Yeah.
best way to do it. Meal prepping. I mean, everybody uses
Huge.
that term now, but it's realistic. You do have to prepare, because if you want certain foods and you're trying to eat in a certain way that's going to help you through your success with your weight loss or getting healthier, then you have to have those meals kind of set up. That is the best way to be successful at it. So for the next 3 days, okay, in the morning I eat this, afternoons I eat that, in the evenings I eat this. And you can have different things for different days, but you're going to have that set up, and you're going to
Mm-hmm.
have it systematic in order for it to truly help you to be successful at it. Because otherwise, you're grabbing at anything,
Right.
stopping anywhere to get something, or you're trying to make it work on the fly, which occasionally you can do that, but in the long run, that won't be successful in the long run.
Yeah, you
Right.
need intentionality when
Yep.
it comes to sustaining any type of wellness. And so shooting from the hip is not going to work. You know, you like you said, you might find it rarely, but
Yep.
it's the intentionality of it to be able to sustain it and really see that impact, like you talk about the results.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
have it up beforehand.
Mhm.
So right now with the pandemic, there's so many people that have been having to work from home
Mm-hmm.
and spend a lot more time in the house, maybe more than they ever thought they would. And so we wanted to see if you had any simple exercises that you could show, one or two that you could show,
Sure.
of things that those of us that are working from home or doing a lot more stuff at this point in the house
Okay.
can benefit from.
I'm trying to set this camera up a little bit better to be able to show you a couple of things. They're minor, and sometimes people take the minor things for granted. But if a person was at home now and they're like, Danny, I'm a real beginner. I want to start exercising and get myself in better shape. The thing I would say to them, you can do a warm-up routine in place. I'm hoping you all can see me if I stand up. So, for instance, a warm-up routine in place. See if I can get this chair out the way. Tilt this a little bit.
So we got you.
There it is. Yeah.
So, something as simple as high knees. Just to stand in place and lift your knees high. That's a warm-up. You're working your core. You're working your legs. Now, if you were to speed it up, of course, you're going to get your heart rate higher. That alone is a great workout. It's just high knees. That's it. Now, if you're able to do jumping jacks, where you jump, if you can do a jumping jack, give me 10 jumping jacks. You could start off with 20 high knees, 10 jumping jacks. Do 2 or 3 cycles of that. It's short, it's quick, it will work. That will be your warm up. Now, from there, you grab your 5-pound dumbbells. I normally give you compound exercises. Now, when I say compound, that's
Danny, hold on one second. I think your video has frozen. If you
Yeah.
want to turn your video off and on,
okay. Give me one moment.
because I want to make sure that the people can see.
Can you see me now? Can you hear me?
We hear you, but your video, I'm not sure if your internet is not strong to connect with your video. It's just, it has you frozen at the high knee pose.
Ooh, okay. Give me one moment. Let me stop it for a second.
Yeah, we thank everybody for their comments, for their questions. You guys can keep them coming.
It's been great.
Danny's going to be with us for a while, and this has been so great.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can see me?
No, you're still frozen.
It's still the frozen screen.
Hit your red X and leave and come back.
Okay, let me do that.
Yeah, if you have any comments that you any other fitness or even questions about his journey, anything you'd like to share, put that in our comment section so we can make sure that even if we don't get it in tonight, he can put that comment in later after the show, and definitely connect with him wherever you are, whether you're on the East Coast, the West Coast, the Mid Coast, the Upper, the Northern, right? Connect with him on social media. Reach out. Again, if you're watching this on the replay and you may have questions about his journey, you may have questions about wellness or fitness, connect with him, on his social media platforms, connect with him on his website, and we'll make sure to share all of those details before the end of the episode. We'll put those details in the comments.
Yeah.
But definitely connect.
And let him know, hey, I saw you on the Listen with Tania and Wiz show and had some questions. There we go.
You got me?
Yep.
Hey, all right, great. So I'm going to pick up where I left off with that warm up. I'm trying to get this camera propped up right for me. So without being too technical,
Mm-hmm.
I like to give compound exercises. And when I say that, exercises that are using more than one joint and that are using more than one muscle group. Because when you do that, you're getting the most out of the exercise, especially if you're not going to be doing lots of exercising. You know, you may only have 3 or 4 exercises that you want to do, and you want to get the most out of those. So you want to use a lot of body parts with that exercise. In addition to the fact that you also want to burn a lot of calories. So one of the things that I have most people do, and I hope you still can see me,
Mm-hmm.
we do a squat press. So if I'm turned from the side, I'm going to squat.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I come up, I'm going to press the dumbbells overhead. That is a squat press. It's very simple. It's not a complex exercise. But when you do the squat press, you're working a multitude. Your core is working, your legs are working, your back is stabilizing, your triceps are working, your shoulders are working. That's a squat press. Okay, so
Awesome.
Yeah.
one. The next one that I would do when you're on the ground, if you're able to do a regular push-up or modified. Of course, when you're doing a push-up, you can get on your knees and you would simply do a modified push-up. You can even stand against the wall with your feet
Mm-hmm.
on the floor if you're not strong enough and do a push-up, just like I'm doing it against the desk. Because now I'm working my whole upper body. My core is working, my shoulders, my triceps, my chest, my back is stabilizing. Okay, so 2
Yeah.
exercises right there that work lots of muscle.
Yeah.
Something your abdominals are just getting on the ground, flat on your back if you have a mat or a towel to put on your floor, and simply doing a crunch. When you're doing a crunch, and I'm trying to set up so you can see me, most people will connect their hands. No, I just want your fingertips at the back of your head. Your chin is up so that when you do the crunch, it's just a short, quick motion. That's
Okay.
it. You can almost do a crunch
Yes.
from a standing position because you're only trying to exhale and contract the abdominals. So even from a standing position, if I were to do a crunch, it would be at
Mm-hmm.
that point, I'm contracted. You
Oh,
could take
that's
those
good.
exercises and you could start with something as simple as that. Um, the
Yeah.
squat press, the push up or modified push up, and the crunch, along with a jumping jack or a modified jumping jack and a high knee for your warm up. And that would just be something small to get you started. Okay.
Yeah. Danny, show them with the dumbbells when we do the kickbacks. Nia and I were talking about this last night, Nia and I and Tisa, about how I'm firming up my arms. You know, it's summertime, honey. We want to be out here with the strapless, right? Show them the
Right.
kickback.
You could use 2 dumbbells or 1. I'm going to show you 1 at a time. You're simply bent and you push. That's a kickback.
Mm-hmm.
That looks like I'm pushing back. I'll go from this angle. The arm is up and I push, push. So as I'm pushing back just from the elbow, that's the pivot point, I'm
Yeah.
squeezing the tricep. So when you're doing that, you see your tricep working.
There you go.
All right?
It's getting the back of that arm,
That's
ladies,
getting
that we
back.
be talking
Right.
about.
And of course,
Right.
on the front of the arm, something as simple as a curl. 1 at a time. Curl. Just like that. Just 1. Very, very simple. And with that, you pretty much hit all the muscles. You know, the leg is a large group, but when you squat, you pretty much bring everything into play.
Yeah.
Okay? When
Yeah.
you push-ups, you pretty much bring everything into play. So 5 pounds of dumbbells,
Mm.
that's really all you need, and a few short movements. What are your thoughts? I see you.
Oh,
Yeah, that's my hubby. What are your
that's
thoughts on the new virtual home fitness craze such as Peloton? Is that for everybody or advanced fitness people?
a good question, James.
Good question.
I'm going to say it's for everybody who likes that type of fitness. Now, some people like to go in the gym, as Wynn said, they want to be they might want a trainer at the gym. They might want a group session at the gym because maybe they feed off of some of the other people who are there in the session. Maybe you want the gym because you want a variety of equipment. So, this machine works that group, that machine works this group. You may have 5 or 6 different machines that you want to use. Now, the Peloton doesn't offer that. It's an aspect of fitness, and I say that because it's cardiovascular oriented. So it's going to work, especially if you're just talking about the bike experience of it or the treadmill. So, you're going to work that area. But many people like that. And I know I have some clients who meet with me, but they also have a Peloton. Right. So maybe a couple of times per week, they use that Peloton. They get in on the class sessions and they think it's fun and they're instructed. So yes, it can be for anyone who likes that particular type of fitness. It definitely can benefit you. It will have cardiovascular benefits to it.
Well, I have a caveat to that question and to your point, Danny. Anything you do needs to be consistent, right? Yep. And so I know, how many people do we know that during the pandemic or even before, let's be real, that purchased home gym equipment, no matter the brand, and it is now what they dry their clothes on, right? It is what they hang stuff off of. And so no matter what you do, just be consistent. Use it, first of all, so that it's not just sitting there collecting dust. And so that you have 2 types of people with home fitness: people who buy the equipment and use it, and people who bought the equipment and don't. And so we want to just, whatever you do, get a consistency to it. Because I don't need you to spend $1,000 on a bike that you're never going to ride. I mean, that's just foolish, right? So
exactly. So the thing is, and I tell people too, whenever you pick your mode of exercise, whatever that be, just make sure it is something that you can kind of adhere to, something that you be able and want to be consistent with. Because again, if you purchase it and don't use it, then it really hasn't benefited you anyway. But if you know that is the style that you like, right? And you really, you're pretty sure that that's something that's going to keep you engaged with a certain level of consistency, then I would say definitely. But if not, then find the thing, that will be able to benefit you in that way to keep you consistent, because that's going to be very important.
Yeah, and it may be a myriad of things, right? Like you might have a couple days at the gym, you might have a sport that you participate in, like group sports are becoming more and more popular with adults, right? We got kickball leagues going on out here, softball out here, right? So you might do that. You might just start walking with some family and friends around the track. Whatever it is, it could be, Zumba or whatever, just mix it up, throughout the week. So you might have a different activity of movement every day and don't even feel like it's working out.
Yep. It's just about consistency.
Yeah.
Something that you're able to adhere to and keep going. That's it.
Yeah.
So that's enjoyable too.
Great mention, Lynn, about softball and kickball. So
yeah, just the movement. Make it fun. Because whatever you enjoy, right, Danny, like that's what you'll keep doing. If it's not something you enjoy, you're not going to do it.
Now, she's at her kickball game.
Yo, I'm all about that kickball game.
Active to keep you engaged, that right there you can burn tons of calories. You're doing that a couple of times a week or a few times a week or something like that. That's that's good exercise. It's good muscle engagement on a different level than weight training. So if it's something you like, definitely get out there, play your sport, get on the team if you like. Adult teams out there everywhere. You can definitely engage that way.
Yeah.
I know what's been working for us. We are a family that loves movies. Just honestly, we love movies. And so we recently joined our local Y, and they have a cardio theater. And so they literally are showing a different movie every day, but there's everything in there from treadmills to becoming bikes to a cycle, to I forget what the other one is. It's not an elliptical, but it's almost like the ski thing. I forget what the term is, but you can sit there and work out to your heart's content in front of a movie, which has been great for us because you don't even focus on the time. You're so busy focused on enjoying the movie, and it's like, oh, I've been on this thing for 30 minutes and I done burned some calories and worked out. So
any way that you can get it, that's the thing.
mm-hmm.
Do it. Yep.
So when talk about your lovely softball experience, let's talk about your flashback on that softball.
So Danny, now we get sarcastic and hilarious, right? So
Right.
if you don't know the segments of our show, favorites and flashbacks is when we talk about things from our past and some things that are our favorites. So for me, playing softball since I was a kid in Little League has always been a deal. And then up until adult, through college and on the adult leagues. But one of the favorite moments, if I can be honest about it, I was in, I don't know, I think it was middle school. Yeah, I think it was middle school going into high school time frame. And I always was up on the plate, always being shorter, I was more up on the plate. And I played fast pitch softball. And those who may not be familiar with that, that's just a little slower than fast pitch baseball. Okay. Like these girls, their arms, those windmills are 90 to 100 miles an hour. These balls are flying at you and they're huge and they're hard and fast. Yeah. And so one of the funny moments of this would be she wanted to get me back up off the plate. And so, that ball came right across my chest, and I took my bat and I was like, listen, what you're not going to do is graze me with this ball, right? I'm giving you forewarning because Danny, that's scripture. The Lord don't bring nothing on you unaware. You know what I mean? That's the word. Okay. So I gave her a fair warning. You know what I'm saying? She did it the second time, grazed me, and I was like, okay, you coming right close. And when she hit me with that ball, Danny, I'm not sure what took over me. Wasn't the Holy Spirit. I don't know what it was. But when I tell you, I took my bat, my weighted bat, and I charged the mound. And I grabbed her and I beat the heck out of her calves, okay? With that, how parents used to hold you with one hand and switch or belt you with the other? That's what she got. She got the beat down, the Briscoe beat down of her lifetime. But let me tell you, I got kicked out of the game, of course. I got, the ref ejected me. And I had to sit out for a couple of games. But she became one of my very good friends. And she knew from now on, trust me for my word, okay? Trust me for my word, okay? So that was one of the funniest moments of softball.
Hey, it happens sometimes. It happens.
I still keep a bat. I still play softball. I tell people all the time, I pray, but don't play with me. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Understood.
Mine is not as heroic. My childhood. Oh gosh, my childhood flashbacks. So in middle school, I had the privilege of getting to run track for a little bit. Loved it. Still love to run. I would rather run than do anything, honestly, workout wise. But ninth grade, and it was like the first week of ninth grade. So like truly like a freshman, you're already in your head and in your thoughts about people looking at you and trying to blend in and just trying to fit in high school life. And gym class, PE class, they made us do indoor track. Mm-hmm. And they made us run from one end of the gym to the other, kind of like a quick, like 50-yard dash or whatever. And so I was trying to show that I could hang with everybody. And now the gym is full, y'all. The gym is full of seniors, juniors, and freshmen. Like there are multiple classes going on all at the same time in different parts of the gym. And we just got this one spot over here. And I ran as hard as I could and as fast as I could. And I won. The problem was, though, is that I couldn't stop. And I ran smack into the wall. Smack into the wall.
That momentum is what has you.
Oh, my gosh. I was the talk of the school for weeks.
No doubt.
But I won.
Yep. I said that's what matters. You won.
Exactly.
It's hard to stop a train, honey.
It was that day. There was no stopping the train that day.
Well, Danny, do you have any funny flashbacks around fitness or?
Funny flashbacks around fitness. Wow. Dang.
No hitting walls, no beating folks with bats.
No, I'm not. I'm drawing a blank, honestly. But because usually when I'm in here and I'm in my workout mode, it's kind of serious most of the time for me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now we'll joke around and play around here a lot of times, but nothing
from high school, growing up, nothing.
Nothing's popping right off in my head.
He's been so focused. That's it.
Right.
But you know what'll happen as soon as I was like, oh yeah, you know what? After this, I'll probably come up with 5, 6. Yeah.
You put it in the comments.
Yeah,
come back to the video
comments.
later. Yeah.
Give me a reason to say, you know what? Got a funny one for you.
So when you wanna share about Danny's gym experience?
Oh man, so I put down as one of the notes today, one of my favorite things at the gym was once I healed from my rotators cuffs. Remember, they were torn from painting the ceiling years ago. And shout out to contractors, right? So not doing things on your own, torn the rotators cuffs, went through physical therapy, and then that's when I was able to start at Danny's gym. So one of my favorite accomplishments, right? Not just is a favorite, was when Danny taught us in boot camp how to flip the tires. And so for me, that was like super amazing because my muscles were torn and I couldn't even lift my arms over I couldn't even lift them over my head. Now I have full mobility. Thank goodness. God healed my arms with no surgery. But it took, physical therapy and then also working with Danny to strengthen and rebuild those muscles. And so that was a favorite for me, was being able to lift a dump. What are they, like dump truck tires?
They're like tractor, like field.
Tractor trailer tire. Yeah.
Field. You see the heavy commercial equipment on the farms?
Yeah.
With the super large tire. They're that type of tire.
I mean, that one is like almost as tall as I am, right? Yep. So to be able to lift this thing off the ground, flat off the ground, y'all, it's not elevated. You got to lift it from the asphalt and be able to flip it over and then continue to do that, right? As we walked down the lot and flipping it and then coming back. So that was one of my favorites because it was like, oh my gosh, healing in the body. And then to be able to lift something that's almost as tall and big and heavy as I am. So it's like you're lifting and flipping yourself. It was a major accomplishment.
A lot of work.
So you got tires. How much, Danny, how much does an average one of those tires weigh, would you think?
It's heavy.
We've never weighed them and the weight is not posted on the side. But I would honestly say,
it's over 100 pounds.
Oh, wait, far over 100.
Yeah, it's definitely over 100 pounds.
I would say probably 300 pounds minimum again.
Yeah.
So you're lifting it from the side, so you're not lifting the whole tire initially over your head, but you've got that tire
get underneath of it
and then push it over.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're moving a lot of weight. You're moving a lot of weight.
So to take that thing down the parking lot, right, to lift it and push it and then lift it and push it. And he did that. I don't know how many reps we did. And then to bring it back.
Yep.
It was like me. It was like lifting my old self.
So I have never lifted tires, but I would say my favorite kind of love-hate relationship, if I'm going to be honest and transparent about it, is my 9-month workout working at the Amazon warehouse. I lost over 30 pounds and several percentages of body fat in 9 months. Lifting and walking, a multi-million square foot warehouse for 6-7 hours straight, 5 days a week. Lifting 50-pound bags of dog food because customers now want to order their dog food on Amazon. And it was amazing. And I tell people all the time, I was like, it is the best paid weight loss program. I mean, like they paid me to lose weight. It doesn't get any better than that. Because I don't even think your gym is paying people to lose weight.
No, you had a good one. Yeah. When they pay you to lose weight, that's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
For
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Yeah, getting the sweat in and everything in that warehouse with no AC in Texas summer.
Shoo.
And you lifting boxes. I was like, that is the best. This is the best. I was like, where was this years ago? Like, I could have used this.
You wouldn't have done it years ago.
A lot of burning.
Well, honey, I got some questions, right? As we got some funny laughs. Danny, you can chime into this, or you can be modest and bow out. And Tania and I will keep the sarcasm going. So don't feel bad if you don't want to chime in. But my first question that I have is, why are people who wear athletic wear the last people at the gym to work out? That's my I got question. Because listen, tights, in my opinion, this is Wynn's opinion, are meant for athletic activities. Tights are not pants. They're not shorts. They're not capris. And so when you see people in athletic wear and they look like they haven't seen a gym, they can't even spell the word gym, I'm concerned. That is my I got questions for tonight. Tania, Danny don't have to answer it. He can be modest and respectful. Tania, I want to hear your answer.
Because it's comfortable. It's comfy.
I don't listen.
It's comfortable. It's comfortable. I'm sorry, to grab a pair of leggings or yoga pants or if whatever's got spandex in it.
There's so much give and then there's so much give. Okay. I'm concerned. Please, if you're going to wear and purchase this athletic wear from the athletic department of a store, please visit an athletic facility and utilize it. Is all I'm saying. Or just go walk in your neighborhood. Go walk.
You know what? The pandemic gave everybody permission.
Okay.
We're not put spandex over everything.
This is definitely a pre-pandemic question. Okay. This is not a pandemic related because everybody was in yoga pants on Zoom. That don't count. Okay. What I'm referring to is pre-pandemic and the amount of people that I would see out and about in the store. And I would just be like, I wanted to have Danny's business cards and just start passing them out like tracks. That's what I wanted to do. That's my opinion.
Don't do that to him.
Be like, you know what? This could bless you. Meet me there on Tuesdays, Thursdays, honey. Meet me. That's what I wanted to say. But I didn't. Kept it to myself, kept moving. So Danny, you can comment or not.
Look, I'll stay out of that one.
Okay.
Good answer.
Tania, you read the next one.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Next question. So why do people feel like they can eat trash and then go work out and expect results? And you touched on that earlier, Danny.
Yeah.
Now, right. We have to be realistic. So I think that's part of being realistic. If you're on an eating plan or regimen and, you're adhering to it pretty well and you have a mess up or two, fine. I always say still keep going. But at least have a plan, because if you're still just eating any kind of way, it's going to be hard for you to get the benefit from the exercise. It still has some benefit. But the thing is, we're trying to optimize our time and what we're doing, the benefit we'll get from the exercise. And the way to do that is, through eating better. If you're eating better, it's going to enhance what you're doing at the gym. It's going to help it. So again, don't fool yourself. Eat better. Eat on a plan so that your results in the gym will be enhanced. Otherwise, it's just going to be hard. It's going to be very difficult if you're not doing what you need to do on the side of eating. You're not going to have the benefits as quickly or as optimal or prevalent and as you want. Yep.
Good
I tell
answer.
you what is popular down here, and it's not even funny to see it, but a lot of people eat out down here a lot. They eat out a lot, even though the grocery stores are always packed. So I never really understand what people are doing with their food that they buy. But that's a whole nother episode. But what's so funny is to see people eating out, definitely not of the healthiest of weight, but yet they're repping gear, shirts, and stuff that talk about fitness.
Honey.
It's just like, okay, maybe that's a gym I don't want to support if that's how they're showing you that that's the best way, while you sitting there tearing up that barbecue and,
And I'm not even going to mention one particular chain or brand of fitness centers, but we all know that brand, and they used to have pizza night. And I would be like, stop it. Okay. And it's a national brand and I was like, okay, so what are we teaching the people? Is nutrition like you just got off the treadmill, now come get 2 slices of cheese pizza before you walk out the door? I don't know that that's the messaging that we want to give people for sustainability of wellness. So especially coming from the gym, like they're going to eat poor at home. They don't need to get that at the gym. Yeah,
definitely can agree. Your eating is actually of the most importance, and able to see benefit and keep benefit. It is definitely. So you can't. You definitely can't. And you can eat pizza occasionally, but you just can't. That definitely shouldn't be your norm.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I won't even tell y'all the countless gyms that are down here that are right next to donut places, like literally in the shopping center.
They give
Walk
out
out the
donuts.
gym and grab yourself a donut on the way home. It's just like, and when we drive by, we always get a kick out of it. We laugh about it because it's like, oh my gosh, how is that helpful? How is that even helpful?
Yeah,
man.
But people
outrageous.
Tend to say, you know what, get in the car, drive home. You did your workout. That should be the motivation.
Right.
Help, or at least consciously be the help. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Well, Danny, what is the best way for people to connect with you? We posted your website. Is it, Instagram? Is it your website? Is it Facebook? Is it just calling? What's the best way?
Any of those things. Facebook, I will respond back to you. I have my personal Facebook. I have the Strong Fitness on Facebook. Instagram, I have my personal. We have Strong Team on Instagram as well. So yes, any of those, or just a call. So any of those methods, I will respond back to you.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure we put all the methods in the comments. We'll collect all of those different social media platforms and a telephone number and put them in the comments so that everyone can reach back to you, especially those that are going to watch it on the replay. We find we have a lot of viewers that come back and watch it 24 hours later when it's a better time for them to check it out. So we want to make sure that if they have a question, about your story or about fitness, that we relay that on to them. So definitely keep up with the comments of the video over the next couple of days, because you're going to see additional questions and comments for you. And when you think of something funny, post that too.
Will do.
Well, thank you so much, longtime friend.
Yes,
you are amazing.
I appreciate
amazing.
I appreciate it, and thank you all for having me. It was I'm just happy that I could just spread some health, and hopefully it's been a benefit to your listeners, and they picked up a nugget or 2 or 3 that they can implement and, live a better life, live a healthier life. And again, just reach out to me if there's any way that I can help or answer any questions for you.
Danny, I'm going to throw a challenge out there. I always do this, right? Anybody that's watching this video, this Thursday is the 10th of June. Okay. So Danny does boot camp on Thursdays, right? At 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so anyone that wants to show up to Danny's gym and come and join us at boot camp, it'll be on me on Thursday the 10th. Okay. So come, show up, work out with me here at Danny's Gym in Waldorf, Maryland. If you are in the Maryland region, 6 p.m. again, Thursday the 10th. And the boot camp is going to be on me. So you don't even have an excuse. Come, be ready to work out.
Awesome. Now you're going to have to come
like
up
that.
with a challenge for everybody that's here.
That's on you. I'm taking care of the Strong Fitness family. Rep the Strong Fitness. Thank you, Danny.
Thank you, Danny. That was so great. So great.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So much. There was so much in that. So much in that. We hope.
Shout out to Danny Strong.
Yes, we hope and pray that everybody was blessed by that conversation. If you came on late, make sure you go back and watch this thing from the beginning, because you need to understand the man of God that we just had on, and his powerful testimony and his amazing journey, because it's not just about the muscles and the outer strength. It's that inner strength too.
Sure. And God at his core that has sustained him through everything in his life, right? And so that's one thing we always got to think about as we move forward in life is have an anchor, have a core. God's got to be that sustainer. So shout out. Thank you, Danny, again. And everybody, again, connect with him. If you have any further questions, comments, or concerns, put them in our comment section. So it is Testimony Tuesday time. One thing that we love on this show is a good old testimony. So Tania Sharice, give us your Tuesday testimony.
Oh, I mean, just one. I know, right?
We skip the God moment, so you can do one of the possible like spades.
Oh, well, yay. Okay. So my one is, like I was sharing earlier, how our family, we just recently joined our local YMCA, so that we could get ourselves back in shape and just practice a true healthy living as a family. And so it was just a blessing the other day, just like all three of us, each on treadmills, all side by side.
Aww.
In the cardio theater, you know, just walking it out, for an hour or whatever, in front of a movie. Like I said, one of the many things that we love to do as a family anyway is to watch movies. So it's like, well, why not be active while watching the movie?
And it's so good to do it together. I mean, that was what I was saying, that group fitness, or get some family friends together and just, you don't even realize that it's happening.
No, and it was really sweet. Like you said, right, to do it as a family, and to just even allow our daughter to see, like, okay, even your parents care about their bodies, care about their health. We're not just encouraging you in sports and then sitting back doing nothing. It's like, no, all of us, want to be healthy, because real talk, I don't want her to have to take care of me.
Right.
When she gets grown. I'm like, no, I want to be healthy.
Yeah. That's legacy leadership right there, as we talk about on the show, and how what we do has a ripple effect and there's generational impact. So taking care of our temples, having our parents, see us take care of our temples, and then showing others, man, whatever
being that example, that living example, right? In not just exercise, but even in eating.
Right.
So that was the beauty. That was the amazing testimony of this week. And then my possible is the sweet gift that I received from somebody on this screen.
She done.
Well, Danielle is off camera, so it can't be her.
Right.
But somebody on this screen sent me a beautiful reminder that, of course, is going in my office, which is to say,
that's it, girl. That is
this season, this right here, has fully defined everything.
When I saw that in the store and it was only 2 And I said, I have to send one to you and I have to send one to Tisa. So I scheduled them both to go the same time. Yours went ahead and hers went later because she's closer, and you got them same day. And just to be able to know that both of you, my soul sisters, has helped me in this journey that I'm in right now.
You mean that we are all in?
Honey. And we are all in and anchored
Our boats
together.
are anchored together.
Yes.
Our boats are anchored together.
And if you are watching this and you don't have some people that you are anchored together with that are anchored in God, please, I had to put that.
Watch the episode from 2 weeks ago on Fellowship.
We'll watch Fellowship, episode 12, because you might be anchored with some people, but they might not be the right people, and they might not be anchored themselves. So again, episode 12, then you'll understand what that reference is about. But thank you so much. I hope you enjoy it.
I love it. Can't wait to hang it up. Cannot wait to hang it up. But it's a beautiful reminder every day. It's like, okay, God, it's you and me out here in this deep.
Honey.
And thankfully, you know what you're doing, because I don't need to know what I'm doing. As long as you know what you're doing, God, I don't need to know what I'm doing.
That trust in the deep, honey.
Right. Right. So what is your one in a possible? Come on with it.
Oh my God. So I posted it this morning. My testimony Tuesday was Saturday, going to the food truck festival in our region, which was amazing. It took over a local fairgrounds from a county, and it was, oh my gosh, food trucks everywhere. I mean, food galore, which I love a food truck. I love the experience of eating off a food truck. Not only that you get a variety that you wouldn't have normally gotten in the restaurant, but it's just a whole different vibe. And so I love supporting our local businesses as well. And so I made an evening of that. So got to the food truck festival and put my things down with some of my friends and went to go, adventure, seek out the food that I wanted to collect. And God he just immediately, directed me to the other end of the fairgrounds. And I was like, they don't even have food down at this end. Like, I'm here focused, God. Like, you know what I'm here for, okay? Tania and I like food and music, okay? And there's a few other things that we're not going to list, but those are our top two things for this show. And so, I was focused, and God was like, no, go down to the other end of the fairgrounds. Okay, no problem. We believe in that obedience on this show. Followed to the end of the fairgrounds, and there were multiple tent vendors that were there selling their wares. Everybody had something different. And got to the end, and it was a really nice Asian lady at the end. And so I asked her, what was she selling? Because God directed me specifically to her. Like, he had, the horse blinders. You're walking past everyone. You're like, okay, soaps, okay, jewelry, right? Like your blinders to everything that he does not want you to see until I get to the absolute end. Okay. I know I passed at least 15 vendors on the way to her and she says, I've got some sundresses on the racks. And I was like, okay, well, God, I don't need a sundress. Like, you sent me down here. You know what I mean? How we are, in our heads. And God was like, ask her what she has. And she says sundresses, but this particular rack here is authentic Japanese kimonos. And anyone that's been listening, our listeners that's been following along, knows that God, instructed that my past can't meet my future, and to basically give away all of my previous Japanese keepsakes from previous trips, and because they were from my past and everything connected to my past. So I stood there trying not to cry, Tania. I held it together the best I could so that this lady didn't wonder, why are you standing here in the middle of my tent crying, holding a, you know what I mean? So I tried on this one particular beautiful kimono and fit perfectly. She took a picture of it for me. And I was just in gratitude the entire night thinking, God, what master strategist are you that you would send someone who would be a vendor at a food truck festival in the middle of a rural town, like town, okay, to sell authentic Japanese kimonos at a food truck festival. Like, these things don't even makes sense, right? You're
No.
there to eat food. Who comes to a food truck festival to buy kimonos? No one. I would have never, just so you know. And so that was God, because he had said to me, Joel 2:25, that he would give me everything that I had lost and restore that. And I had just last month given away 3. And for this month, on top of the chopsticks, a couple episodes ago, shout out to Tony Lawrence on that. Getting authentic chopsticks from Masala, Japan, he brought back. So now I have an authentic kimono, so I can have, everything back in the last 30 days that I lost, right? That I gave away, that
you gave away because he told you to give it away and trust him. It is truly the image of Jesus and the little girl with the 2 teddy bears.
Yes.
And it's like, just trust
and she
me.
was like, I don't want to, right? And she was holding on to it. And to know that, why was I, in hindsight, holding on to 3 kimonos? As we just talked about with Danny, I've lost 160 pounds. So they would have been, they're like twice the size of, wrapping it around me. And so now for my new season, I have a new kimono that fits me perfectly. So it's God. We just have to trust. Things may not make sense, but to know. Today I was in professional development leadership training, and I met our new provost and our new VP of our organization. And he got up, and what was the first thing that he said to me? I had never met this man, never laid eyes on this man. And he got in front of the room of the leadership of our organization, and I'm sitting there, bated breath, right? And he says, things may not make sense to our reorg of what we're doing, but trust the process. And I was like, okay, God, so what you're going to do is have a whole sermon come through this man right here. And he broke out step by step what we should be doing. And it may be a little rocky at the beginning. It may be a little uncomfortable. But no, you know what? You may not be able to see down the road and around the corner, but you know what? Just trust the process. And I was like, okay, let's just go ahead and do benediction. I'm done. I mean, he was up 5 minutes. And I was like, is there one?
I might have thrown my shoe at him and forgotten that I was in a meeting.
I'm saying, when God talks to you,
truly may have gotten a shoe.
Is there one? That was it. That's my testimony Tuesday, my one and my possible, right there.
So amazing. So amazing. Yay. If you have a testimony or something, it does not matter how big or how small. Whatever God is doing is big. We'd love to hear about it. We'd love to celebrate God with you. You can post it in the comments, whether you're watching live and you want to post it right now, or even if you want to post it because you're watching it on the replay, we still check in on the comments so we can still celebrate God with you truly. I want to give a shout out celebration to Tess because yesterday was her birthday.
Yay!
So happy birthday to our sweet, amazing cousin who is a miracle, a walking miracle.
There you go.
Walking health miracle. So we love you and happy birthday month. Because everybody gets to celebrate for 30 days.
Shout out for
in case you didn't know that, you get to celebrate. Everybody gets to celebrate your birthday for 30 days.
You get a whole month. You get a whole month. And if you don't take it, let us know because we're going to celebrate with you. Let us know. We love to celebrate with folks. Absolutely.
It may celebrate without you. So just let us know.
In your honor. Doing this for you. This is for you. You know what I mean? This is
so, oh my goodness.
Next week, honey.
Next week. Darlene, I'm fine. I just saw Darlene's reply. Now you tell me.
Darlene, is your birthday in the month of June?
It was last month. It was
in May. Oh, we got to do a little rewind.
Yeah, we still got time.
It's true. It's within 60 days. It counts. We'll do a little rewind on your behalf. Shout out to Darlene.
Yes. Oh,
April. Oh, it's near you.
So I'm still extending it. I was like, it's May.
Absolutely. It's still within 6 days. It counts. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, happy belated birthday. And thank you for following along with us and your awesome comments.
Love you. Love you so much.
Oh, my goodness.
Next week.
Who is ready for next week? Y'all are not ready for the folks that help create us. Oh, and I'm gonna tell you, Tania is in another state. Her father is in another state. Next week, my father is going to be.
Our fathers will be in the studio. As we work up to celebrating Father's Day. What better way to do it than to have the two powerhouses in the studio?
The identical twin brothers that are our fathers are going to be in the studio with us next Tuesday. You want to be there. That is June 15th, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. You want to be with us live because I'm telling you all, y'all don't want to miss. Y'all don't want to miss the Briscoe brothers. Okay. You just don't. Okay. On all the levels, you don't want to miss them. My dad's going to be sitting here beside me. So I will have it on a whole another level. It's not like I can mute him and turn his screen off like Tania can do for her dad. I'm gonna just have to maybe push a chair. You know what I mean? It's gonna be real next week.
This will be priceless and unprecedented. I mean, we've already had our moms, and that was so amazing and sweet and hilarious and wonderful. But these two,
man.
Yeah, just come prepared to laugh. And if you're still gonna be at work, then we apologize in advance because you truly made LOL. You truly made laugh out loud.
For sure. Set your reminders and spread the word, man. Tell people it's our Father's Day edition. Watch it with your dad. You know, it would be great if your dad is still here, still around. Share the link or someone that's a father figure in your life. Definitely invite them to watch with us and comment and engage. We love the feedback. We just don't want to be on here every week and just be talking heads, right? We want the feedback. We want to know, what are your comments? What's your questions? How do you feel? You know, give us your feedback. Engage with us. So we love it. Next week is
It'll be an amazing time with James and John.
The Briscoe brothers. There you go.
Set your notifications, like Wynn said. Share this today if you know somebody that has gone through a loss and they're still grieving, or anybody that's just had a difficult season or a difficult time in life and they are still genuinely processing their heart with God. This would be today's episode. Would be so amazing to share with them because, like we said, Danny was more. It was more than about just fitness today. It was so much more than that. So, thank you all for watching. We will see you right back here next Tuesday.
That's it.
With the twins. And until then, keep listening, y'all.
Take care. You all be safe. Listen.